Hello guys and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Chiakwa Gideon and today I'm going to show you how to design this flyer using Photoshop. Alright, so I got this brief from my church. I was asked to make this design for our monthly program called Power Week. So for the month of March we have the theme for Power Week given to us as "Come unto me, all ye that labor." So while I was given this theme, immediately what came to mind was a man carrying a burden. So I just thought of getting a picture of a man carrying a burden. And I also thought of a hand that represents God's hand, all right, or the hand of Jesus saying, "Come." Okay, so I was able to get this particular image of the hand. Okay, so let's go straight to this design. So we begin by creating the artboard or the canvas. So as you can see on the screen, it's a squared sized 1080 by 1080 pixels basically. So the resolution, I think my resolution is on 200. So I have 1080 on the width and height respectively, and then the resolution is 200. Now the first thing I want to do, basically for me, how I go about design is I type out all the content, then I get the pictures, and then I continue from there. The next thing I want to do is to start bringing in the text. Okay, so I'm going to type. Let's make this black, increase the size, alright, so I think that's pretty much about all the texts we have here. I'm just going to hide all this. Just going to hide them. So don't worry about this footer text, right? I think we're just going to copy and paste into our design because it's pretty much easy to do. But I'm going to show you how to have this effect, create this effect that I have in this frame. All right, so let's get straight to it. Now I am going to come here. So I have a background here and it's like a water paint, right? So I'm going to go to File, go to Place Embedded. So you can see all the elements I used in my design here, and this is the background. All right, and mind you, I'm going to attach a link on the description that is going to take you to the Google Drive where you can access all these resources for your own design exercise. All right, so I'm going to select this place. Okay, so this is my main background. All right, so I wanted to have that feel of space and heaven. All right, so you can see this background did justice to that. So the next thing I want to do is to bring in this image. All right, I still go to File, go to Place Embedded, see it over here, man carrying burden. So that is the image I used. Although this is not how the original image looked, I did some manipulation in the image. All right, so I'm just going to bring this down like so. Bring it down like so. And let's create a footer here. So I'm going to create a footer. I'm going to create a footer like so. Okay, so I think this works. So we're going to add a color to this. Double click here. Double click and let's just select this color. Okay, so that is that for that. Now let's increase this a bit. You can see this space here. I don't want it to show, so I want to cover up the space. I'll select the image, Ctrl T to bring out the transform handles. Then I'm going to spread it like so. All right, so I think we are making progress. We're making progress. Now the next thing I want to do, now if you look at my original design here, you can see I added some text that represents burdens in the life of a man. All right, so poverty is a burden, addictions are burdens, confusion, barrenness, debt, mistakes, struggles, failures, sicknesses, delays, and the rest of them. All right, so I intentionally added that just to give essence to the theme given to us. Come unto me, all ye that labor. So I'm sure that makes sense to you. All right, so how do I come about this? So basically what I did here is I typed out the text. So I have addictions. Or let's make it capital letters. Addictions. I'm going to reduce it. Ctrl T to bring out the transform handles. Reduce it like so. Okay. Then bring it in here. All right. I think we're going to make the weight to be bolder. So double click and select the font or the text. Then I'll make it bold instead. All right, I think that looks good. Then I'm going to change the blending mode of this. So instead of it being at normal, I'll move it down to let's say soft light. All right, so I think that works. Soft light. So I'm going to duplicate this, Ctrl J, move it out. Then I'll type confusion. All right, Ctrl J. I'm going to type poverty. Ctrl J again and type struggles. Ctrl J again and type delays. All right. Ctrl J again and type debts. Okay. So I think we can work with this. Or let's do one more. Ctrl J again. Let's do one more. Ctrl J. And let's have here sicknesses. All right. So all these words represent burden. Okay. So Jesus Christ is asking us to come with our burdens, and is going to give us rest. All right. So whatever the burden is, addiction, confusion, sicknesses, poverty, struggles, delays, debts, Jesus Christ has the power to give us rest. All right. Okay, so I'm going to make progress. Let's make progress. So let's go to the next phase, which is to bring in this hand image. So I'm going to go to File again, go to Place Embedded. Then I'm going to select this like so. Just going to move it this way, move it in. Okay, so I think this works. All right, cool. So let's begin to bring in our texts. All right, let's begin to bring in our text. So the first thing I want to do is just to bring out this footer. So let's just get this out of the way already. I'm going to group all this and say footer texts. Okay, I'm going to right click, convert to smart object. So I've converted all this to smart objects. So when I do Ctrl J to duplicate, I am going to now move it into this other artboard 2. Just so I'm just going to move and drag to artboard 2 like this. All right, cool. So the next step is to bring in this background here, this kind of wavy background. All right, so I'm going to select this rectangle, go to File, go to Place Embedded, and over here you can see black wavy background. I'm going to select it, bring it down like so. All right, Then right click on it and click on create clipping mask. All right, so it clips into this original shape, that is this one we had here before. Okay, but for you to be able to achieve this, you must make sure that this black wavy background is immediately above the rectangle. It's very important. All right, don't forget that step, it's very important. So once we've achieved this, I'll go back to my blend mode, then select a blend mode that suits what I want to do. So I'm looking at this and I think soft light works. So what I'm going to do is to reduce the opacity or the fill. Okay, instead of 100, I'm going to reduce it to 50, and let's see how that looks. Let's do 30. Okay, so this is not giving me what I want. Let's try other ones. So let's see what I used here. Okay, what I used here is soft light 70. Okay, soft light and 70. So soft light and 70% on the fill. So it's still not giving me the exact fill I want. I don't know why this is, but I think we can go ahead with this. Okay, so let's bring in that. This is our text. So let's see the size we used here. The size I used here was 7.42. Okay, so I'm just going to replicate that here. 7.42, 7.42. Okay, so that's that. I'm going to increase the weight to bold. Okay. So okay, I think it's, so the weight is going to be on extra bold, not bold. All right, extra bold. So I'm going to now highlight this Dominion Parish, the text Dominion Parish. Highlight it, change the color to red. Okay, change the color to red. So I'm just going to bring this up like so. Okay, so let's just copy the logo. Let's copy the logo. And mind you, like I said, all the resources will be in the description for you to use. Okay, so I've copied the logo. I'm just going to move it in like so. I want to close the spaces in between the line of text. All right, so I think this is called the leading. I'm just going to reduce the size of the leading. So let's do 7, or let's do 7.5. Okay, so I think this works. All right, so I'm just going to zoom out. Okay, now duplicate this, Ctrl J or Command J, and let's type this Power Wiki. So yeah, I'm going to reduce the weight of this week 2024 to regular. All right, then make the Power Week have color red. Okay, so how do I do that? Double click on the part, highlight the part you want to change the color, come to color over here, select it, and then you can now pick the color from the color picker. Okay, so that is done. I'm just going to move this out a bit to the edge. All right, bring this down like so. Okay, so I'm looking at this background. I want us to like spread it out a bit. Okay, so I've selected the background layer on the layer panel. Select Ctrl T on the keyboard, then choose any of the handles of the transform tool. So choose any of the handles that appears and hold your Alt key and then spread it out like so. Alright, so I think this looks cool. Press enter key on the keyboard. Alright, so we are making much progress here. We are making much progress. So the next step here is to introduce this. And again, I think we are just going to copy and paste because I'm sure this is a simple step. So we don't need to take much time getting this done. Alright, so Ctrl J, go back to my design, move it up like so. Alright, so basically the step here is type out this date. Alright, increase the size. Okay, I think the size here is 10.96, or we can make it 11. That will still work. Okay, now I added a gradient overlay. If I right click and go to blending options and I go to gradient overlay, you can see the overlay I added. So one side is light blue and the other is dark blue. Okay, so I can come here and select the colors I would like to use. Okay, you can see if I change this, you can see the change on the text, and if I change this to this, alright, so you can see this now. Okay, but this is not what I want. I want to use the blue shades. Okay, so this is how I want it to be. Now the other ones, we just follow this pattern. You have the Wednesday 13 blah blah blah, and the reason why I did it this way is for emphasis. So Wednesday is, I made a mistake here. Wednesday should be 13th, and then we have Thursday. This is going to be now bold. All right, red. Okay, Wednesday 13th and Thursday 14th, 5 p.m. So the time for both days is 5 p.m. Then on Friday is 10 p.m. and it's a power night. Then Sunday is 8 a.m. in the morning, which is for Thanksgiving, and 5 p.m. it's a communion service in the evening. All right, so now you have here venue blah blah blah. Okay, so having done this, let's go straight now to the next, which is the main theme. Okay, so this actually gave me a little bit of challenge trying to achieve this, to have this look, because when I started the text were quite much, so trying to play around them to make them look cool excuse me, wasn't looking as cool as I would want them to be. So I had to play around the text, try to look for fonts that would look appealing. All right, so I was able to come across, I was able to find this font called Merita Serif. Merita Serif. All right, so let me show you what I did here. So let's go back to I don't need all this. I don't need this as well. So let's go back to our text. So I'm just going to make all these visible. Alright, so we have come unto me all ye that labor. So what I did on the reference is I made all ye that labor to be pronounced. Alright, then come unto me as well is pronounced, but not as pronounced as all ye that labor. So there's this kind of distinction between both categories of words. Alright, so we have come unto me, which is God speaking. All ye that labor represent this. Alright, so I didn't want them to have the same color right, or the same size. So there should be that distinction, if you understand what I mean. Okay, so now I'm going to select come onto me, come to my font over here and choose Merita Serif. Okay, so we play around the text. I'm going to make all these to be small letters. Okay, like so. Onto is going to be small letters as well. Onto, yeah. And then me, the M would be in capital letters and the E would be in small letters. Of course, the M there, the me represents God. So you want to use capital letters for that. I'm just going to increase the size a bit. Okay, now we have all the label. Okay, there's something else here. The letter O in com also should be in small letter. Okay, so now all the label, let's change the font to Merita. Alright, Merita Serif. All should be in small letters. Ye, the Y is capital letters, the E is small letters, and then we have that. HAT is in small letters. Okay, let's also make this first T to be in small letters. Okay, and then we increase the size a bit, and now we have label. We do the same thing here. Letter L, capital letter, ABOUR, small letter. But there's something I did in the L. So if I highlight just the L, there's this, it's called glyphs. Yeah, you see different glyphs of letter L. So when I click on this, you can see that effect, looking so cool. Alright, so I'm going to increase the size of this. Increase the size. Then bring this down like so. So what I did here is, for all ye that, I think I increased the font to something around 25, like so. Let's say 30. No, that's too much. Let's do 28. Okay, then I'm going to now increase this one also like this. Okay, so now I'm going to bring this down, reduce the size a bit. Okay, so I think this works. Okay, so I'm just going to highlight, select all this and bring it up like so. I'm going to stretch it out more. Okay, all right, so let's now go to the effects that I used on the text. So for this, what we did here is the gradient overlay is this. So for the lighter blue, we have the color 1B98EF, 1B98EF. All right, then for the darker blue, we have 0047C9, 0047C9. Okay, so let's do it. So for the lighter blue, I have this. I'm just going to click on this and copy, right click and copy. Okay, so I've copied that color code for the lighter blue. Okay, so I'm just going to come to my own text, come on to me, right click, blending options. I'll go to gradient. Now it's appearing automatically because I've used it before. Okay, but if you are doing it for the first time, this might not be how it will show on your own design. Okay, so I'm going to click here, then we have the color code here. So if you do the same for the other one, the color code as well will appear there. Okay, so we have this, and there's something else I did. I added bevel and emboss. Okay, the style I used here is inner bevel. The technique is smooth. Depth is 344%. Direction is up. And the size is 1 pixel. Soften is 0. And angle 90. Attitude 30. Highlight mode is screen. Opacity is 50. Shadow mode is multiply, and opacity here is 50. So basically this is the setup that I used to achieve this. Okay, now we are done with that, and the next step is to also add colors to all ye that label, and also add the bevel effect. Okay, so I'll click over here to see the setup that I used. I'll just copy layer style here, then I'll come over to my work. Now because I want to apply the same effects on all of this, all ye that label, by the way, let's change this white to small letters. Okay, I think this looks better. Alright, so because I want to change all of this together, I'm just going to group both layers. Alright, I'm going to group the layer of all ye that label together. So I select this layer, hold down my shift key, select this other layer, and then press Ctrl G or Command G. Okay, so I'm just going to right click. I'm going to right click and paste layer style. Alright, so you can see that this is looking the same now. So what is the layer style that we pasted? So the first style we used is a gradient. Okay, so in this case now we have a kind of golden gradient. Yeah, so I had 3 stops. So this is called, you can call these stops. So the first color stop is EFCA1B. EFCA1B. So once you click on this, type in this figure. Okay, you get this exact color. The next is to also so this other color is C68C02. Okay, so how do you create this stop here? Let me delete this. So just click once here. Alright, just click once. Once the mouse pointer changes to this hand, you click once here. Okay, now click on the color stop again. Okay, so you click once and then click on the color stop here, and then you type in this figure. Alright, type in this figure and press OK. Then finally this one, color stop, you can use this figure for that. Okay, so this is cool. That's for the color. Then for bevel and emboss, so it's basically the same style we used for the former one, the same setup that we used for Common to Me. Okay, so guys, basically this is how I was able to achieve this design. So one more thing, just as we round up, there are a couple of things I do that makes my design pop. Alright, let me introduce this light here so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, so you can see now. Cuts and action. Alright, so guys, we've achieved this, but I want to show something that makes my design look really good. So someone asked me recently, how can I make my designs pop? Alright, so looking at this reference design, this is the final work. Okay, this is the final work because I introduced some light, so you can see how it's looking kind of richer than this. Okay, so the first thing I do in order to make my design pop is I select all the layers of my design. Just select all. You can click on the first layer, hold your shift key down and select the last. Alright, then I press the shortcut key on my keyboard, Command Alt Shift E, Command Alt Shift E, or Control Alt Shift key. So what that does is it converts all the layers into an image together. It merges all of them and converts them to a full image, just as you can see here. Alright, so once I've done this, I go to filter, I go to camera raw filter. So it's loading. Let me zoom in. Okay, so I now begin to play around the effects. So I can come here now and increase the clarity to 25, increase texture to 15, then I can increase the sharpening as well. Let's say sharpening should be at 20. Alright, so basically I think I'm cool with this. I'll just press OK on my keyboard. So if I make this invisible, you can see how it's looking formally, right? But if I make this visibility open, so you can see how it's looking now. It's looking richer and different. Okay, so for us to introduce lights, basically I have this light effect I use. I have this light effect that I used. I think it's saved on my desktop. So I'm just going to go to File, go to Place Embedded, and go to Desktop. Okay, so this is it. I'm going to add it also as one of the resources for this design, so you can have it as well. So I'm going to click on this. Then how do we remove this dark side of this image? I'll go to my blending mode, click on normal, and go to screen. Alright, basically that's how to do it. Okay, so I'm going to click on Ctrl T to bring out my transform handles, reduce this a bit, and position this here. Position this here. Ctrl J to duplicate, bring it up. Ctrl J again. I can place this one here. Okay, then Ctrl J again. I can place this one here. Let's increase the size of this. Alright, I think we can have one more. One more can be here. One more can be here. Alright, so basically guys, this is how I was able to achieve this design using Photoshop. So I'm going to be looking forward to your own design. So the last step for us here is just going to be to export it. JPEG. Let's see. Okay. Boom. So let's get our work. Yeah, so guys, this is the design, and I'm going to be looking forward to your own design as well. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed yourself and you learned a lot while watching. Thank you.